Hi guys, and welcome to class number 26. Yeah, the most confusing because of my mistake, which was not a mistake, but still is. So those who have the book, I will be referring to that a bit. Those who have the PDF, I will explain to you what's in the book. Samaya Janahare. These are the words we learned today. Oh, confusing and semantically complicated. Happy to see you all, although I mostly see my own picture, but I see faces, logins, views, little hearts. All right, it's called the Precious Halberd Mudra. Although they draw a glaive in the image, which that combined with conditioning, habit, caused me to do a mistake. And now, of course, everyone is spamming the heart because I said so. Hey, hope you're well. I feel joy just being connected to you. Feels good. All right. Samaya Janahari. Before we go into the practice, let's go with all the confusion about these words, okay? And the mudra. Okay. In the picture, I showed the mudra like this. In the original Chinese, the mudra is this. But to get the correct Chinese mudra, you start with that, you extend the thumb. Okay, so that's the correct mudra. However, in the PDF and in the book, the picture that I took is still connected. Okay, for a million reasons, well, like 3 or 4, that I will explain. Okay, let's call it a mistake. Okay, out of habit, this is the Glaive Mudra. They want us to do the Halberd Mudra. They call it the Halberd Mudra. But in the picture, in their own picture, they have drawn a glaive. A halberd with 2 blades, a 2-edged halberd is a glaive. So they draw a glaive, they call it the halberd. So as a reflex, I did the Glaive Mudra, which is quite similar to the bow mudra. Okay. So, yeah, let's call it a mistake. However, I won't correct it. Not only because the books are printed that way, it's kind of a bummer, but because doing this mudra is not wrong. In terms of wanting to respect the historical accuracy, it is a mistake. Yeah. But what they draw was a glaive, and the confusion they have in the translation of the Sanskrit points out to that mudra. But what they want as a side effect is that mudra. So let's clarify that. It's a lot of things, right? So yeah, I'll say I did a mistake. The main reason why I want to say it was a mistake is that when I realized that I had done this variant, it's not a mistake, it's a variant. I had an ego reaction of shame. Oh my God, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Okay, so that was the first thing. Say, whoa. Calm your vajra. It cannot be wrong if the side effects positive. Okay. So I wanted to explain that I did a mistake simply because I wanted to hide that I did a mistake for seconds. But I did have a normal human reaction. I said to myself, oh, that is a good thing to explain, because we have these moments of bullshitting ourselves. So if I had one, I like to expose it. So we can all have more humility to admit, oh yeah, I mean, okay, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the goal. I had a thought which was fueled by the emotion of shame. Oh, I can just explain to them that I wasn't wrong and that the picture was wrong. So basically, instead of owning my mistake, because I could easily justify it, I changed it to, in my subconscious, to they were wrong, I have the right way. Like, how much arrogance is that? You know? But I'm sure you all do this at one point. I said, this is perfect. I have to teach this. Because that wave of, no, I was right. The Chinese 2,000 years ago were wrong. This kind of feeling that you have inside when you realize you do a mistake, of just switching it to the other. You have to be able to see this in yourself. So since I had it, I said, I have to share this. I can't hide that I was going to manipulate, using my authority as a master, like my teachings are good, to manipulate all of this in order to save my pride and my shame, you know? So this is so cool that I lived this, because you'll see how it applies to the rest of the teaching. But I like to share it because it happened. And of course, when it happened, I saw it's like, hey, wow, I had a wave of bullshit, of lying. So we have to bring it back to the humble responsibility to our reactions. Okay. Now that I say, according to the historical accuracy, it is a mistake, let's study what is the current effect of doing this. Because some people will not watch this video now, and they only have the book, and they'll do this, and the result is magnificent. It's good. There's no problem. You see, those of you who study Kujien, and have done a bit of research, you have seen the many different ways of doing each mudra. And each of them are good. They simply have a different effect. Okay. So I will explain how to do the mudra historically correctly, which is like this. And I will explain what happens if we do it like this. Okay. And we'll realize that it's a different effect. I'm just glad that I saw I was not admitting it to myself that I was inaccurate, and that I could use this opportunity to show you, hey, when that happens, take responsibility, admit it, instead of going into the ego patterns of defending yourself. Okay? Very good. Now, the mistake was fueled by the fact that I believe they also did a mistake in the drawing they did, which they have drawn a glaive and not a halberd. A halberd has one sharp edge, a glaive has two sharp edges, and they have drawn a glaive. Also, I'm so used to do this mudra in many other practices that by reflex, I just did it instead of disconnect to the way that they wanted. Okay. So yeah, it was driven by conditioning, habit. When you study many different systems, at one point they get confusing. Okay. So here you have the reason then why by reflex I did the Glaive Mudra, because they draw a glaive, instead of the Halberd Mudra because they call it the halberd. So we're good, right? The confusion here deepens. So I'm not the only one who did a mistake out of potential. Well, maybe I'm the only one and I don't want to admit it. But the way that they use the words Samaye Janahare and the way they explain it is also filled with exactly the same thing that I was expressing this morning. Okay, so let's go in detail of the Sanskrit. Samaye is about synchronicity. It means something that is shown to the public, or when something is now revealed. Okay? In the dictionary, there are many Sanskrit words to say that a baby is born. Samaye is one of those words when a baby is born. Okay, so we say Samaye is when a mother gives birth. Well, more specifically, Samaye is when the baby is born and they show it to the family. Okay, so it is something brought to the public. And it became, oh, it's Samaye. You brought out the baby to the public. And over time, it became, it was born. Okay. Samaye is also used as the word public. I'm talking to the public. It doesn't mean specifically the public like I'm talking to the public. It is when something is brought out. Something is, we realize it is there. It is brought to the public. So you see how Samaye in its original became the birth of a baby or the masses, which is completely, different things. Okay, it is when something is brought up. Okay, in the context of our mudra, Samaye means synchronicity, like things happen in good time, when things come out. It's just whoever studies Sanskrit will see it means a baby is born or it means a big crowd. Well, actually, no. But, we use it that way. Because, words over time, the dialect over 1,000 years is different. Okay, so that is Samaye. And Samaye is a verb. Okay. So it is an action, the action or the event of something brought out or announced or now shown. Janahare is celebrating or vanquishing illusion. That too has many meanings. What did I write in the book? Because I know in the book there's something else. To remove illusion or to celebrate. Oh my God. Did I do another mistake? Samaye is to be on time. So it is synchronicity. And all the speech I gave about Samaye and being born is a mistake I did again. Because all of that speech was about the word jhana. Which is still valid because I just gave you the explanation. But everything I said about public and born is about the word jhana. Okay? So the way Samaye and jhana and hare are used in the public are not used in dialogue in the way that are expressed in the dictionary. And all of this is confusing, okay? When I practice this, I've got rushes of confusion arising, okay? And I tend to become aggressed and aggressive. And I just did it again, confusing one thing for another. Okay, so obviously I have an issue there. And I'm not the only one. We will have these kinds of momentum rise. At least the class I just gave is accurate about the explanation, but it was not for the word samaye, it was for the word jhana. Okay, I'm sorry for that. I had the feeling, check the book, because I'm missing something. My intuition was good, I guess. Jhana is that thing that is unclear if it's the public or, okay, it was born. When I said samaye is an action, this is where I am confused here even more. The classes and the things we go together. I will find it. I don't know exactly what is the base of that, but I will find it. I always do. And I invite you to also look at what is the potential confusion. And I'm pretty sure it has to do with control, because living in synchronicity with the universe, free from illusion, literally has no control. Yeah. And now fear is what I feel, so I found it. I made that mudra to stay connected. That mudra is a bit more aggressive. It's not aggressive, it's more active. Okay? I actually did that mudra many times using the earth mantra pointing down. Okay? The Chinese say it's violent. This practice is used to conquer traitors from other countries, spies, okay, or to defeat foreign enemies. Even the Chinese, in their desired side effect, were violent about it. They gave enough clue in drawing the wrong weapon, like precisely not exactly the good weapon in their image, and calling it something else. And asking for something aggressive also, about projecting outside that it's someone else's fault, that we are right and they are wrong. So it's fun. It really is fun to see that as I was practicing this stage of the practice, I was going through the same kind of conflicts. And I'm checking myself, am I just completely full of shit here? And they were right. They have given clues in the image they've drawn and the purpose that they seek, which is all about war and politics and spycraft. That they also lived it. So this is what you can expect out of the practice of this mudra. Okay? I was certain I was going to give the class correctly and not make mistakes, because I have reviewed this before. Yesterday and this morning. And I was like, okay, I got this. And I started the class giving a full speech on the wrong word, the second instead of the first. Of course I did no mistake talking to myself when I had the book open. It's like, oh, yeah, so that was it. Yeah, that's a confusion. Good God. May all the Buddhas keep pushing me into admitting my own faults. My shortcomings, you see, I want to see them. Now it's done in the public. And cool, this morning I was ashamed. Now I'm just laughing at myself. It's nice. I'm erratic. Why? Why is all this excitement here between my whole chakra and my plexus? I know for sure, and that is no mistake, that practicing this mudra like this brings benefits because it keeps you connected with the original Samaya Janahari. Okay? The historically accurate and the good mudra that we will do today is from this, you just extend the thumb. Okay? This is the Halberd Mudra. So even if they draw a glaive, let's do the Halberd Mudra. Okay? Why is this more aggressive? And why should we do it that way? It is a mantra that ends with Hum Pat. It is meant to subjugate and bring an effect. Of course, their mind was about defeating enemies. But the mantra says, flow in synchronicity, conquering illusions, free from illusions, liberated from your false hopes and your dreams. It's all of that. Okay? And Hum Fat is to be surprised by it. In our current life, do we have this battle to try to make things happen in the future according to a plan out of false hope or real hope? Is this faith? Of course not. This seal, the 26th seal, is about trusting synchronicity. Things come. Plan ahead because it is wise. Be prudent and organize your life. And once the plans are made, take things as they come. Don't stay in that control. Do you understand? Because that's life. I have a inflated muscle in the right jaw right now that if I bite, it hurts, and the teeth on the right are not even touching. Imagine, I used to bite and my teeth would touch. They're not biting. They're not touching. So thick is that muscle. Okay. Temporomandibular joint muscle inflation, for which I have prescribed anti-inflammatory and exercises to do and all of that. I did go see 2 specialists, a doctor and another specialist about the muscle health. Because it's been for a while. Now it's just like lately it's problematic. That's control. You see, this is like, I don't grind my teeth, so I don't have teeth problem, but it is tightness on the right side. That's control, okay? Which could motivate me to stay grounded. That's not a control mudra, it is a stay grounded mudra. But I feared the freedom of this one, calling it aggressive, okay? The same way the Chinese called it aggressive in defeating enemies. And spies is always about this manipulation game and it's someone else's fault. You know, like when I realized I took the wrong picture, well, wrong. Historically wrong, of course. I had a shame about it and I was trying to project it for, you know, a few seconds. But I saw it quickly, which is a good thing. And it all comes down to the teachings of this mantra. Om Samaye Janahare Hum Pat. Let myself be surprised by life, taking things as they come. Free from my own dreams, my hopes, my plans. Very well to plan ahead and never hold on to the plan. Just adapt, flow like water. Yeah. So I will keep doing integration and self-study, self-observation on how come I was certain of myself. I had seen my own shame, my own mistakes, and yet I started the class not with a grave mistake. I gave a good explanation. I just mixed the word that was misinterpreted. But I did it. I did a mistake, you know. Thankfully, I saw it and I could explain it. So this is the kind of thing that we have to be able to go back to, like, am I ashamed trying to blame another? Because this pattern rose repeatedly, and I can't prove it, but it does seem that it came into the Chinese who wrote, because there were not one guy, there were a team, a Chinese group of people who wrote the original, that they went through that and actually published, you know, a mistaken weapon, and the side effect so far from compassion. Okay, it's someone else's fault. We are right. Defeat the enemies. Defend against the invaders. Wow. So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so I want to say that I am sorry for being erratic and turbulent during the first part of this class. But this is what rises in me. This is what naturally rises in that practice. I'm certain that I would love to control a few things, and actually, I'm going to give you another point of view which is useful. Sometimes when we don't like control, is that we don't like the control of others on our life. And for me, that's the tightness. When we have to respect the laws of our country, the rules of society, the ways that your family does things, like on Christmas, this is how we do things, and another family does something else. But in our family, we have a tradition, you know. When the control of outside, the public, basically the jhana, you know, misinterpreted as the public, comes on us, and we don't want to abide by their rules, that is something that we feel invaded, and it brings anger inside. And because, like, right now, this is what's going on with my muscle group. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that can rise. So it's not just my control of synchronicity, but my despise of others' control. Another example that may affect more of you. The fact that without being vaccinated, it is problematic to travel by airplane. Especially if you are anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax or anti-vax. I have none of both these things. I got vaccinated 2 doses so that I can travel. I'm at peace with it. I'm good with it. It's not a poison in my body. It's a thing that I can do in society. But I had to do it if I want to eventually give seminars again. So it's a useful example. It's the control that others, in this case society and the health system, has on me. Now, if you are anti-vax, you would react to all these laws and how the world turns and how the world is. And can you find any place where you're disappointed on how the world is and how you have to abide by it? I learned yesterday that during the lockdown, in some cities, you could not even go out of your own home. I did not know that. I live in a village, and during the famous lockdown, we could go out because there's 2,000 people of population in my village. We just could not go into stores. Except once week to go do the groceries, okay? But it was not a problem. But some of you could not even walk in the street. Wow. You see, that comes from the parents. We studied a bit the mother issue last mudra. The parents are teaching us how to act in society. And we are born as an animal in a jungle. Our entire childhood consists in discovering and emancipating as much as we can, while the outside is breaking our freedom into the mold. And that brings a deep frustration in a child. You remember that? I see in children the anger of having to conform to society and to the family. However, we will not be able to live in society if we don't adapt quickly. It is completely counternatural to do that. But it's the only way to live with so many humans in a vast economic system, for everyone to have their rights respected. If we lived in the jungle, thieves would come steal our stuff anytime. Bullies would threaten us all the time. We would not have property. We would not have a territory to call our own. Anyone could go into your house and do whatever they want. It's wonderful that we have a social system, but it left a trace in us. As a child, we exploded with emancipation, and the same amount of effort was put on us to break this at least into a mold. You can emancipate in those borders. That left a trace. Try to feel it. Try to find it inside. That left a trace inside of anger, of disappointment, of sadness, the pressure that the world outside does on us. That core trauma, I don't know if it's a trauma. Can we call it a trauma? I don't know. Not really. It's just hard conditioning. Okay, it's not trauma. But it's a heavy potential. You know, daily, our parents and society, from the age 0 to 21, is hammering those rules into us daily. So now we start practicing the mudra to just flow into the causality of life. And we tried to do that. We tried to do that from day one. And our ability to flow was broken. This brings up a wound inside. And this is what we have to heal. So happy I could find it when I told you I'll find it. Because I could use it, once I found it, a few minutes later, I could use it to show, hey, look at all this dynamics. That's what I lived. And of course, in China, with the insane amount of population they have, and even at the time, they had a lot of people. They need to have all these rules. I'm grateful for social rules. I'm still grateful. Even though they're challenging for a child, it is what allows us to survive in society and have everyone's rights respected. And yeah, it is compassionate at this point, okay? But the dynamic of a baby animal coming out into the world is pretty intense. So I hope that you found it also inside, because this is the source of turbulence. When I found it, that egg shape tension that I had just relaxed. It's like it started to flow again. So that's how I think I have found it. Never pretend you have resolved everything, because you never know. In this class, we will practice the mudra like this, because it is not violent. The violence is that pain that we had in childhood, okay? But this is the freedom, the more aggressive or more intense application. This is the grounded version. This is the expressive, emancipated version. Om Samaye Janahare Hum Pat. Om Samaye Janahare Hum Pat. Om Samaye Janahare Hum Pat. Wow, that was an emotionally charged class so far. Confusing, erratic, a good picture of this pressure that is going on inside that fights with this seal. In this case, both for me and the original teachers, we were confused about the words, the mudra, the drawings, and the purpose. Like, woo! Because it challenges us inside, okay? Oh, I love to laugh at myself. Like, it really brings joy to me to see my human reactions, and it's kind of playful. As much as it is really revealing, it is playful. That trouble, you know, there's people I love that I want to see, and I just can't in the dates that I want to see them. And that's enough for me to be angry at the rules of traveling, and that disconnects me from synchronicity. I'm not the only one in this situation. We are like that. We're going to recite 21 times. Please do the mudra. I will repeat. Whoever will only read the book and do the mudra like this, there's no problem. It's not historically accurate, but there is no problem. It brings a grounded effect, but it's not Hum Pat. This is Hum Pat, the expressive thumb, okay, where this energy this is synchronicity, and now it flow in line. Just let yourself go, as opposed to grounded. That could be misinterpreted as control, but it's not. It's just well grounded. This is a good effect. Okay, so I am not going to correct it, because for all the copies printed, it's impossible. And it's not wrong. It's different. Okay, but we're going to historically do that because I have reacted, and it is challenging for us to admit the difficulty of just flowing as things happen. You know, just take things as they happen. This is my right hand. I remind you that the Facebook flipped the video. This is my right hand. Okay. 21 times. Om Samaye Janahare Hum Pat. 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 Om Samaya Jana Hare 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 Hum Pat. And contemplate. Om Samaya Jana Hare Hum Pat. The gratitude of the events of life that surprise you, that enchant you, that brings joy and variety. Embracing the reflex of control when the variety is not that pleasant and the surprises are not that good, that emancipating. Having the humility to admit this confusion that we have when things don't flow according to our social rules, our desires, our false hopes. It's going to be a good practice to review, that confusion. The plexus and the host chakra were working in resistance. When I explained, sometimes chakra emancipate, but sometimes they work because they're working on something and it's a tightness. And the plexus and the host were working. The host is that free flow of things, and the plexus is this tightness and the control and the attachment. Okay, social rules are attachments. We want it to be specific ways. Okay, beliefs, mental attachments, behavioral conditioning. Un conditionnement behavioral in French. Om Samaya Jana Hare Hum Pat. Yeah, let go. Just let things happen. Take care of them when they happen, if it's not good news. When that became sore and inflated, I had to take care of it. Although I have to admit, it's good to admit it when your body's telling you something and just say, okay, let's just walk in life with trust. At the same time as this muscle tightened and inflated, I have a muscle in my right foot that inflated, which is walking in life. Okay, showing me that I definitely, as a person, have problems accepting the free flow. I mean, if you compare me to many other people's, you would say, hey, this guy has so much faith. He accepts so much. Yeah, okay, compared to the average folk. But in my potentials, one is the strong one, is I'm so used to manifest what I want that I'm used to things going my way. So when they don't, I've got this arrogance. I was saying, but I should be in Kamaru-tattva. I should have whatever I want to feel. Why is this happening? Yes, this kind of arrogant disappointment with God. Like, why do you treat me that way? Oh yeah, it's me. It's me who does that. I'm creating this. Yeah. So anyway, we're good. Guys, I love you all. Hopefully one day someone can give a teaching about this seal that will be in total peace and harmony. Thank you for watching and for tolerating this class and my attitude, as I did do my best to bring joy in the process. Actually, I brought joy naturally because I like it. Hey, love you guys. Bye.